is self energy, the soul. In my program, I talk about embodied wisdom and the soul a lot. How do you hold that?
Well, that's such a good question. And I'm going to back up just a little bit in answering it, in that I think our field of psychotherapy has done a disservice in cutting off the spiritual realm of a person, right? It has to be evidence-based. We have to be able to measure it. If you bring in spirituality, right, you can't get CEs for it. So I think as a field, we've had to exile this idea of our soul in our work with clients. And yet you raise such an important question, like, is this self energy, is this true essence of me, my soul? And I believe that that's a question that you would need to ask internally, right? We don't want to project what we believe onto our clients. And if it feels true, right, that this is my soul, this is my core essence, this is my spirit inside of me, then yeah. I mean, it is for me. I can answer that question. For in my system, like, my core essence does feel like my soul. It does feel, yeah. And there's wisdom. We're talking about, okay, we come into the body, right, and then we can connect to this spiritual aspect that then is available to us, or not so in our heads. And as we connect to it, like that, I believe that there's some soul wisdom that we can be guided by.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's often what I feel what is happening in the sound experience is there's a dropping into a deep conversation with not only the subconscious, but our divine essence of who we are. And that information comes through sometimes direct revelation, as Sandra Ingeman would say. Things are just explained, right? Your family pattern or why something happened to you as a child, right? Sometimes it comes through metaphor, vision. You know this from doing the sound journey. Sometimes the information comes through emotion, having an emotional release, and then coming to the end of that release and having a aha and meaning making that happens.
Yeah.
And I'm assuming that was also what happens in somatic IFS as well, or in the way that you combine that.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, I'll just maybe first of all say that was my experience when I did the sound journeys with you. Like, sometimes I would have visions of the divine feminine and the divine masculine dancing, like, oh, you need both of these energies and they're both within me. And I just, that knowing. And sometimes I had access to ancestors show up and allowing me to rest, and those ancestors, those grandmothers showing up, and they were reaching down into the core of the earth, and like they have connection to the primordial mother. It's like, wow. Okay. The things that would emerge were quite, like, when you, as I'm saying them right now, the experience was really profound, but putting words to them, and what are people going to think we're doing? And it's not psychedelics. This is sound healing that's happening. And I would say, stepping back with somatic IFS and what that is and how that's different from IFS. A lot of people know about parts work and this model that Dick Schwartz developed 40 years ago. And Susan McConnell was one of Dick's first trainers. And she is the person that really brought in, she and a couple other early trainers who are all women, brought in the body, right? The wisdom of the body. They're Hakomi trained. And she then developed a model of how does the body flow into each step of this model. And and this idea, this bringing the somatic therapy and being with what's unfolding moment to moment, as opposed to kind of this more maybe masculine, logical doing IFS, right? Being an embodied relationship with your client and your client being an embodied relationship with their parts, right? I hate this word, but it's a game changer. It really does make a difference when you have that embodied self energy and people feel it. We are resonant beings as we started the conversation, right? We can feel people's hearts. Our hearts can feel if how we're showing up is true and authentic, and they can trust it, right? That resonance gives that safety and trust for the healing work to happen. And we need that embodied self energy. And so, how do we help our clients access it? Especially when they've had these experiences where they don't want to go to their body, because remember what I said, that the what's exiled in the body is that overwhelm. It's those emotions that are locked back in time when that event happened, right? Too much, too fast, too soon, or not enough, you know, in the case of neglect. And but with this embodied self energy, there is, oh wait, there's someone else here that I can start to, might take some time to build that trust, but it does shift. It actually, I'm just always feel like it's a huge honor and privilege to be with people in their work. And I hold it as like I'm a guide. I'm there to help them deepen into what is true for them. I'm not an expert. I'm holding this space for their own knowing to emerge.
Yeah, a space holder, a
The
space
space.
holder. And it speaks to, in a very tangible way, we're tapping into the wholeness that's already there and bringing it forward to support the healing. So it is a different paradigm where we see the client is not as broken, not as, because there's a belief that that energy is innate in everyone,
Mhm.
right? So it's bringing that forward.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Much more empowering.
Much more empowering. And you know, I know you also offer the safe and sound protocol, and I've just been kind of amazed by the sound healing, through the nervous system regulation, the sound healing that can happen even without IFS, right? That sound healing offers that. And my sense is, in my experience, is that because it's bottom up, right? What is there just naturally emerges of what needs attention. And it's nice to then be able to integrate IFS, and for my system, somatic IFS is where I focus, because what's showing up is in the body, right?
Yes.
And so when we can connect to it in the body,
Yes.
um, it as I was saying, right, that those parts feel met and accompanied, right? We don't have to. Okay, if you have some activation happening, let's just meet it and welcome it. And then it feels accompanied, and then things start to shift, right? Like we just are co-regulating with it. We don't need it to change. We don't need it to step back or pull in its energy, or no, it's welcome. You're part of the system. I know you are also studying the gene keys. And what I love about this is this idea, like we have the shadow, and then there's a gift, and then there's the city, right? The lesson, or the higher realm. And that in all the shadow is the gift.